Hey everybody, it's Tara Bryan, and you are listening to Course Building Secrets Podcast. Hey guys, so one of the sort of questions or objections or beliefs or whatever it is you want to call it that I get all the time from business owners who are starting to shift their one-on-one to one-on-many work is that what happens to client experience. And mainly, my clients need me. If I am not there for my clients, they're not going to succeed. Either because you're doing the work for them, you're helping them along the way, or you have a belief that you have to be face to face in front of them in order for them to actually succeed or do what they said that they're going to do or do what you want them to do, right? And here is what the fact is around that, and I want to base it around this central question is, do they need you, or do they need you to guide them and give them a path to help them be successful? Because here's the thing, if you say, well, they need me, right? Then literally that means that you are sitting in front of them, and just the mere fact that you are sitting with them or in front of them is giving them what they need to be successful, right? That's if you answer it the first way, that you have to be there with them physically in order for them to feel like you are there for them, right? The second answer, the second part of that is, can you provide them with an experience where you're not in front of them all the time, but you're still guiding them, you're still helping them, you're still supporting them, and you are still providing them with an experience where they feel heard and supported and accountable to do what they need to do, right? So because here's the thing, is that you can't force someone to learn. You can't force someone to do something. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in front of them or not. But what people are purchasing from you and wanting from you is your help and guidance to get them from where they are today, right? The pain, the challenge, the whatever it is that they have, to a new solution or result, right? And so they're paying you, they're providing you with the return to give them that transformation. So regardless if you're in front of them, or sometimes I call it the virtual and automated part of you, or if you're showing up in kind of a hybrid scenario around that, it doesn't mean that it's a lesser experience. It's really just being very clear ahead of time before you start with the client how you can help them. And in my opinion, as a business owner, you should always be thinking of that from the minute they become your client, right? It's not like, I have some people that I've worked with who are like, well, we'll just sort of see how the relationship goes as you start paying me. And in my opinion, like, if somebody did that, I would run, because that means that they don't have an established and an efficient path to get to a result, right? It's just like, well, we'll work together and hopefully end up somewhere, right? That's like saying, I want to jump in the car and I want to go to New York, and I'm not going to look at a map. I'm just going to go east, right? Like, that's not an efficient and planned approach to make sure that you hit your target. And so as a business owner, when you are outlining the relationship that you're going to have with your client or your clients, or however you structure your business, it's really about showing them and guiding them along the path. So whether it's you showing up live or you showing up virtually in either an automated fashion or online via Zoom or something like that, you can really control the cadence and experience of the relationship just by how you're walking them through that path, that transformation, to get to where they are today, to that result. And really, as long as you say, here's how we do it and here's how we show up, then the expectations are set. And so it shouldn't be, well, I have to always be in front of my clients, because here's the reality of that. And I'm just going to share this with you, is that that's about you, not about them, right? If they're saying, well, you have to show up and you have to be next to me in order for this to be successful, then you haven't defined what success looks like and how they can get to that result effectively, right? I always remember when, and I don't know if you all have dealt with this, but when I first went out on my own, it was like, great, we want you to work on this project. You can come to our office and sit in this cubicle, and you can be here from 9 until 5 and just work on, the project that you have to work on. And my question was always like, so if I don't have deliverables that I'm working on between 9 and 5 because, I don't know, we're waiting on something else, or there's something that is prohibiting us from moving forward in that cadence, do I really need to sit here in this cubicle? Yep. What would you like me to do? Well, you can just hang out and whatever, but we really need you to sit here. And I kept thinking about that going, what are you talking about? Like, I am here on a project and you're paying me either hourly or you're paying me a project fee. I'm not going to sit in your cubicle just because you want to see my butt in a chair and stare at the wall, right? Like, I'm working because I'm able to get you this result, this deliverable. And so those were early days, right? Where I was like, wait a minute, I need to step up and say, this is how the work gets done. This is how we are going to be successful in this relationship. And it's exactly the same way when you're working one-on-one with a client, or you're doing a project, or whatever it is that you're doing, is if you set up the expectations ahead of time, then they are able to see how the path moves forward, and then they step in. The other thing about that, and I just said, I kind of went off on a tangent, but I just said, like, it's about you, is because you need to ask yourself, do you need to sit in front of them, right? Do you need to be there physically while you're coaching them or teaching them or helping them on a part of a project? Because that's about you. That's not about them and their success. And so really get honest with yourself about that, because here's the reality is, whether or not you're sitting in front of somebody or they're watching you on a video, or in some type of other format where, like I said, I call it the virtual you, whether or not they're consuming your time there or in front of you, they're still interacting with you. They're still establishing a relationship with you. You're still able to personalize that experience, and you don't actually have to be sitting next to them to make that happen. And that's something that's really, really important from sort of a mindset shift that you need to make if you want to get in this game of automating and leveraging and scaling your, a digital product, or even just the way that you show up, to change it from one-to-one to one-to-many. Because again, if you're getting them results, they're not necessarily going to care whether you're there or not, right? Like, yes, there's some parts of it that enhance the relationship if you show up live, but overall, if that were part of it but not all of it, and they were actually experiencing you on video or experiencing you in a different way, they're still interacting with you. They're still experiencing what you have to offer, and you're helping guide them along the path. That's just as effective for them. And really remember that, because you're showing up for them even if you're not doing it live. Because I think a lot of times people say, well, I need to be there. I need them to know that this is the thing. And that's not true, because they're actually watching you. I always remember the first time that happened to me, and someone said, oh my gosh, what you shared with me today was amazing. It totally just changed what I was doing in my business. I was able to implement it immediately, and it made a huge difference. And I looked at him and I was like, we didn't meet today. What are you talking about? He's like, oh, you're totally right. So I was in the course, and I was listening to your video, and it totally changed my business, right? I totally was able to implement right away. That, to me, was the moment that I really got it, was he didn't even associate the fact that we weren't talking face to face. He was just like, you helped me, you showed up for me today, and you were there, and I was able to implement what you had to offer. And that is the power of really looking at how do you create this sort of virtual version of yourself, this virtual system that allows you to record and teach or show up one time versus over and over and over and over and over again. Because the minute you can do that, the minute you could take your repeatable process or your repeatable framework and start to put it into some type of packaged deliverable, will change the way that you show up, change the way that you view time, change the way that you see how you can leverage what you're doing and how you can even take what you're doing with your customers to the next level. So hopefully this serves you today. I know it was a game changer for me when it happened to me, but I really want you to think about the answer to that question is, are people showing up in person? Am I showing up with people in person because there's no other option? Or can I look at the experience that I create, the path that I create for them, and figure out a way to do that leverages your time and energy and still makes a huge difference? And that, my friends, is where the power will start coming in as you look at how to do that within your business. And I'll be honest, you could start, like if you are a business owner who has a team, you could start by just doing this with your team and seeing the differences that come to play when you start looking at how do you guide, create that path and show up as the virtual side of you versus always repeating yourself over and over. I'll give you a clue, like onboarding is a great way to start. And then start looking at it with your customers. How do you take parts and pieces of what you're doing and shift it to that live, going from that live model to maybe the virtual model, either virtual in person or virtual recorded, and see what starts to happen. Because as you're able to define that journey and be very clear about the path that they need to take to go from where they are to where they want to go, that ultimate result, the easier it is to really create that virtual piece that helps people succeed even when they're not sitting in front of you. And so then you can coach and you can reinforce and you can keep them accountable in other ways versus just that kind of face-to-face time. All right, there you go. Hopefully this serves you. And as always, please subscribe to this podcast if you love it. Share it with your friends. Leave a rating. I would love to have that so we get a little bit more eyeballs on this on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this podcast. All right, take care.
Hey everybody, are you a business owner ready to streamline and scale your business? Imagine solving the biggest business challenges with clarity, a strategy, and a clear plan. Hey, I'm Tara Bryan, and I want to invite you to take the first step towards transforming your business with a free 30-minute discovery call. This call is an opportunity to discuss your goals, identify key challenges, and learn how my mentorship program can help you achieve the success you're aiming for. In just a half hour, we'll explore how you can scale your business by enhancing your authority strategy, engagement strategy, and retention strategy. You'll get personalized advice and a clear path forward. Ready to take the first step? Click on the link below that's in the show notes to book your free discovery call now. I hope to talk to you soon.